We have seen the headlines so often, it almost is background noise at this point. India is the world's diabetes capital. It's a cliche at this point, but it's a cliche with terrifying speed behind it. The last video ended with a question. What happens when a body shaped for famine, less muscle mass, more fat around the organs, and a metabolism built to conserve walks into modern Indian life? In this video, we try to answer that question. Of all the bodies this environment landed on, the South Asian body is paying the steepest price. 30 years ago, diabetes in India was a disease of mid-50s. Today, it's arriving in early 40s and sometimes in late 30s. Something changed, and it isn't the body. The story you will hear most often is that Indians are getting sick because they have adopted to Western habits. And the solution, the one always dangling in the air, is to go back. More walking, less Netflix, more like our grandfather used to live. It's a neat story. It puts the fault on modernity and the solution in the past. But here is what it misses. Indians are doing more or less what the rest of the world does anyway. The same food, same desk jobs, and the same snack aisles. But they are paying a disproportionate price for it. The Indian body isn't getting sick because of modernity is bad. It's getting sick faster than anyone else because it was built for a different world. And the collision between an ancient body and the modern environment is what nobody talks about. Let us put some numbers to this because it is in conjecture, it is in the clinical literature. The ICMR-INDIAB study, the biggest diabetes survey India has ever done, found 101 million diabetics and another 136 million pre-diabetics. That's about 237 million people. Most did not know their blood sugar is already off. The American Diabetes Association confirmed what we covered last time. Earlier onset, lower weight and worse insulin resistance for Asians than any other ethnic group ever studied. Numbers at this scale demand structural explanation. Three things have changed in Indian life at the same time, and each one hit this body where it has the least room. Alright, before we get into each one of these three things, I want to sit with something for a second here. What strikes me about this material is how invisible it was to the people it was happening to. One generation woke up inside a completely different metabolic environment than the one their parents navigated. No warning, no reason to see it coming. Most still don't. Alright, let's go through them now one by one. In 1991, India liberalized its economy. The textbook story is about software, contact centers, and the middle class. But the part that does not get discussed is what happened to the food environment. The global food companies came in, snack aisles appeared, packaged biscuits, instant noodles, chips, sugary drinks, flavored milk, fruit juice boxes with more sugar than the fruit itself. In 2000s, you started seeing likes of Maggi in every corner shop, Lays in every kirana shop, fruity next to lassi. And something important happened alongside of this. Indian incomes rose. But for the first time, millions of families could afford packaged food regularly, not just an occasional treat. What used to be occasional became daily. Here is what that food does to this specific body. The Indian body already stores energy very efficiently. It already spikes blood sugar higher than a European body on the same meal. Now, you're adding food that is engineered to make you eat more before you feel full. Stripped of fiber, stripped of protein, maximum calories at minimum resistance. That's not junk food for this body. It's a worst possible combination fuel. I want to be precise. The diabetes rise in India isn't just about food. It's urbanization, income growth, less physical work, all of it at once. The 1991 opening accelerated everything simultaneously. But I think the food shift is the most under-recognized part of it all, and the one that hits metabolic profile the hardest. This wasn't a lifestyle choice. The food landscape shifted faster than any generation could have consciously adapted to. There's a version of this that people in India talk about as progress. I'm one of them. It is progress, The move from agriculture work, physical labor to office jobs, service economies, contact centers, millions of people lifted out of poverty into stability and indoor work. But here is what that move did to Indian body in one generation. Your grandfather walked the farm, spent the day in physical movement, came home, ate a bit of rice, pickle, and slept, mostly fine. You and I sit in a chair for 9 hours, commute on a bike or an auto or a car, eat the same thing. Your body has no way to burn what it's storing. The food culture alone did not change. The physical output has collapsed as well. Here is the biology. Your muscles are what pulls sugar out of your bloodstream after a meal. That's their job. The more muscle you use, the more sugar gets cleared. Now take a body that already has less muscle on an average and move it from a field work to desk work. The sugar has nowhere to go. This isn't about discipline. The shift happened faster than anybody could adjust to. And here is the part that gets people. You can look completely normal, healthy weight, fine by the mirror, fine by every number your doctor usually checks, but your blood chemistry is already off. You just don't know it yet. That's what makes this dangerous, and it's invisible until it's obvious. This is the one nobody says out loud because it sounds like criticism of everything India has worked for. It isn't. I'm one of them, trust me. But it needs to be named. For generations, poverty did the work of public health in India. Not because poverty is good. It isn't. Nobody should romanticize it. But when you're poor, you walked because you have no car. You do physical work because there is no alternative. You eat whole food because processed food does not exist in your world. The body got what it needed. It's not because anyone planned for it, it's just a side effect of having less. The last 30 years changed it all, and the change accelerated exactly in step with food revolution and the occupational shift. The car replaced the walk, the domestic worker replaced the chores, the lift replaced the stairs, AC replaced the physical job, and eating out in nice restaurants, packaged snacks, ordering in became a sign that you made it. Status expressed through food. Food that happens to be the worst possible thing for this body. Every one of these is a legitimate reward. A generation earned them. Nobody is being asked to give them back, but here is what they quietly removed as well. The daily physical activity that was keeping this metabolism in check. Nobody's grandfather went to gym, they didn't have to. The structure of their day did it for them. The structure is gone and nothing replaced it. This is why diabetes in India tracks prosperity. The urban middle class, the most successful generation of India has ever produced, is also the most metabolically exposed. The disease follows the career ladder upwards. For generations, nobody had to think about this. Now, for the first time, you have to consciously rebuild what getting richer quietly took away. That's not a moral failure. It's just the gap that opened up faster than anybody noticed and reacted to it. So now the question is, what do we actually do with this? 3 things, straight talk. And all these address the specific problem this body has, not just generic wellness advice. First, book a blood test this week, not someday, this week. Ask for 2 things, HbA1c and fasting insulin. HbA1c tells you your average blood sugar over past 3 months. Fasting insulin tells you how hard your body is working to keep the sugar under control. If you're a South Asian over 30, you don't need a reason for this. You need a baseline. Here is why it matters. Pre-diabetes is fully reversible. Type 2, once it is established, it's hard to, and you need to manage for life. What separates these two is just a matter of when you find out. Your doctor might not do it automatically, you might need to ask for it. It's a system gap. Don't let it become yours. Second, more protein, more fiber at every meal. I know it's a cliche. Indian meal has high carbs from morning to evening. Protein is there, but as a side note. Flip that. Eggs with rice or paratha, not instead of it. A real portion of dal, not as a gesture. Curd, a proper serving, not a garnish. Sabzi before rice, not after. Why? Protein and fiber slow down how fast sugar hits your body. For a body that already spikes high after every meal, that's a buffer, and it matters a lot. Third, lift something heavy 2-3 times a week. Not just walking. Walking is fine, just not enough. Here is what I think about it. Your muscle is the sponge for sugar. After every meal, it's mainly the muscle that pulls glucose out of your blood. South Asians start with a smaller sponge as it is, and the modern life, the desk, the car, the prosperity trap, keeps pouring more sugar into this. You don't need a gym body, you just need to grow your sponge. The thing that makes this really hard to talk about is that none of it was a mistake. The food revolution, the desk jobs, the markers of success, they were all progress, real progress, earned by a generation that deserved every bit of it. The body wasn't consulted. And now you have to do consciously what a structure of life used to do automatically. That's the situation. It's not anybody's fault, but it's yours to manage. The prosperity trap is the one that sits with me most. The people most at risk are the urban Indian middle class, the generation that worked the hardest, climbed farthest, achieved the most, and the epidemic unfortunately is tracking straight toward them. That's not a coincidence, it's a consequence of progress that none of us planned for. I want to ask you something directly. If you're a South Asian under 40, do you know your HbA1c number? Leave it in the comments, even if the answer is no, especially if the answer is no. If these two videos shifted something in how you think about Indian body, not as a broken version of Western body, but as a body that deserves different information, deserves different treatment, a like and subscribe takes 5 seconds and tells me this kind of content is more important for people like you. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, please stay healthy.